Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and the haunting has started for Call of Duty Warzone as well as Black Ops Cold War today. Instead of talking about the current events, however, we're going to go back to the past, to one of the first instances of Halloween, haunting, and spooky stuff within the Call of Duty franchise, and of course I'm talking about the game that kind of started it all for a lot of us, Call of Duty 4. You see, before Call of Duty 4 came out, they did this 7 Days of Modern Warfare. It was basically this promotional series where a bunch of little videos would pop up that kind of got people hyped leading up to the launch of Call of Duty 4. In here, we see a nighttime Halloween version of Overgrown, complete with jack-o'-lanterns, fire, and other spooky things, and nothing ever came of this, really whatsoever, which confused a lot of people in 2007, and it's still confusing people like myself here in 2021. Why did we never see anything like this again? Why did we never see a Halloween version of Overgrown? Why did we never see a nighttime version of Overgrown? Did they specifically go through all this just to make this one little promotional video on the internet back in 2007 that most people don't know about? It really doesn't make any sense. Well, how about this? Did you guys know that there were actually supposed to be nighttime maps within Call of Duty 4? Some of you who've watched my pre-alpha videos will know this, but a lot of you probably don't, so let's go ahead and check it out. Nighttime maps were a thing, as you guys can see here, in builds of Call of Duty 4 that were obviously changed before the full launch of the game. There were nighttime versions of maps like Overgrown, District, as well as Strike. These were going to be maps that were going to be playable, and this honestly was an idea that was way ahead of its time, because we of course did get map variants in games like Black Ops 4 more than 10 years later. On these maps, the sky was dark, the streetlights were turned on, and buildings were redesigned to have their lights and their ambient lighting work differently so that players could actually see. During that 7 Days of Modern Warfare promotion, it was actually on Overgrown Night that Infinity Ward filmed the footage of the jack-o'-lantern man sniping somebody with the M40A3 that for some reason sounded like a Barrett 50 cal, so the question now becomes twofold. Question 1, why did they decide to cut the nighttime map variants in development? And question number B, why has Halloween Overgrown never seen the light of day? Now, we don't know just looking at this footage whether or not these are in-game assets, like these are things that they actually made for the game, or if these are things that they simply just edited on after the fact. But why? Why do we have all these spooky things on this map, but they never were reflected within the game itself? Back in 2016 and 2017, during the Modern Warfare Remastered lifecycle, myself and a ton of other fans were poking at Raven Software the entire year to add a spooky version of Overgrown to the game, just like they added a St. Patrick's Day themed version of Downpour to the game with the Shamrock and Awe event, but unfortunately, there was no Halloween event for Modern Warfare Remastered, so that never happened. If we go back to the original Call of Duty 4 on the PC platform, this was something that could be modded on the console, but this was originally just on PC, we saw Winter Crash, which was a very fun and interesting holiday-themed map that, of course, would later get remastered in Modern Warfare Remastered. But if we had a Winter Crash, who's to say that Halloween Overgrown was not originally intended for the game, but got scrapped partway through, like the rest of the nighttime maps did for Call of Duty 4, right? That's really interesting to think about. We have access to these early builds of Call of Duty 4 up to 9 months before the original launch of the title, but in nowhere on these builds do we find mention of Halloween Overgrown. So was this just simply a bit of promotional material, or was it something that was cut super early on? Because in these early builds, we also don't see Winter Crash. Winter Crash is not part of these builds, and as a result, Halloween Overgrown, if it was being worked on, is also not part of these builds. So the question remains, was the map ever going to actually be made? Was it intended to be a map that was going to be released, but it got cut, like the nighttime version of District and the nighttime version of Strike? Or was it just a piece of promotional material that was meant for fun, and that we're just way overthinking this, which I tend to do in most of my videos? I guess the world will never know unless a developer, or even a former developer that worked at Infinity Ward in 2006/2007 decides to comment on the matter, but I still think it's one of the most interesting little mysteries in the history of the Call of Duty franchise, and I think it's something that Sledgehammer Games should pay homage to a little bit with Call of Duty Vanguard. You see, Call of Duty Vanguard is remastering some things things from Call of Duty World at War, which is kind of a forgotten game. And if they're bringing back really old, forgotten things with the game, why not bring back Overgrown? Because they have brought back Infinity Ward maps in the past, and Overgrown itself is just a random farm, essentially, in Russia, which does work within the canon and the lore of the game. And then for their Halloween event, why not make it Halloween Overgrown? That would be such an interesting thing for them to actually do. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this fun little video for you all. And for you old school, diehard Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare Remastered fans, I'm going to leave you with some raw footage of me walking through some super early versions of the cut nighttime maps. I think if you played the games a lot, especially, you're going to find a lot of the layout changes are going to be very noticeable to you. They changed these maps a ton all throughout the game's development. These are super early builds of maps like Strike and Overgrown and District, and I think it's really fun to look at. So I figured a lot of you guys would enjoy watching this footage as well. So I hope you all enjoy watching this super early pre-alpha footage of Call of Duty 4 as much as you enjoyed the rest of the video. If you did, consider leaving me a like. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.